You should have it now. Okay. Hello, everybody. Can you believe we are at it again? Whew. Well, this is in preparation for what is going to be our 17th Georgia High School Musical Theater Awards, and I'm so happy to see so many familiar and new faces all at the same time. So obviously, I am recording this Zoom so that anybody who misses can catch up on the information, but it will also be placed on our YouTube channel. I will put a link on our website, and you guys can use it also as a reference if you need anything. In addition, if actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually put the PDFs also in a place that you can also find it very easily. If you are some of our directors from past seasons, I could possibly get you those. If you need the PDFs, just shoot me an email. I'll also put my email right in here in case you want to ask me anything after this is over. And that way you have it. If you need anything, if you are missing anything, if you have any doubts or questions, you have a direct source straight to me, okay? So welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking some time to talk with me. We have some changes that I want to talk about. We are forever trying to make this easier and more accessible to everybody, and as smoothly as possible every single year. But let me first start by introducing the team we have on board. I am Elizabeth Lenhard. I go by Beth. I am the Director of Arts Education. I am also the Director of the Georgia High School Musical Theater Awards. And we also have a familiar face you've seen last season, Matthew Petty. He is our production manager and all things technical guru when it comes to Accepted and all the other things and components that we need him for. So he's a great resource as well. We have on board Sarah Stewart. She was with us as a production assistant during last year's, this past season's Schulers, and we're loving having her on board, even though it's a temporary summer gig. Hopefully maybe extend it into a part-time, depending on her Kennesaw schedule. But she's really helping me out big time because we are currently without both a development coordinator and a program coordinator. Yes, and so all of it's kind of fallen on my shoulders, and Sarah's really been helping me out. Jennifer Dobbs, she's our executive director, and she is on a family trip right now, a PTO, so she is not with us. But as usual, she is excited to have a new season to look forward to and all the improvements that await. So I'm going to jump right into things. The good news, obviously, we have our mission is always to celebrate you, the work you do, the work your program, your students do, and how we can be a resource to that. The more exposure and the more people that we can get to, the more that we can help be an advocate and a support of your program. So that's always our mission. And it is first and foremost in our minds as we go through every step of this process. We are simplifying the registration process. And there's going to be a few minor differences that you're going to see, and I'm going to point that out later. But just quickly, we'll go over, yeah, that's fine, our objectives. We're going to recognize and promote and celebrate your programs across the state of Georgia. But our main pillars, and you will hear me probably say it many, many times throughout any particular program season or year, our adjudicators and the adjudication process is not only what makes us different, it is the heart and soul of our program. So we want to encourage, to inspire, to motivate, and to advocate. That is the goal. And where we see our real efforts coming into play is all the participants get the feedback. And the feedback is what we've been working so diligently on, providing really high quality feedback, detailed, specific feedback. And we're trying to give it to you so that that can be an extra voice in the room. It could be an extra person in your corner, depending on what you're trying to get through your cities, your counties, your boards, all those things. So we always want to increase awareness and support of what you're doing. We want to nurture positive relationships, which is why we're spending so much time with adjudicators on developing really good feedback, because that's what it is. You know, at the end of the day, the score is what it is, but it's really about the words and what they saw and how they can support you. A couple of things. What I will do is I'll kind of mention things in sections and ask questions. I'll have you guys ask questions based on the section, and I don't see the chat, so Sarah and Patty can help me out, just kind of popping in and asking me the question, so that we can kind of get everybody clear on each section. And then at the end, of course, we'll open up the whole forum for more questions to everyone. All right, let's keep going. These are more of our objectives. You'll see this in the director's packet. You'll see it also on our website. It's to further and foster educational opportunities. That in particular, how we not only come into your own homes in terms of your school homes, but we're also bringing you into ours and the Schuler Ensemble, the Star Council, what we do on both the television side and the theater side. It's all part of it in the end. Of course, everything that we do, we have our inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. We call it our IDEA policy, and it's embedded through everything. So anytime you jump on board with us, there is an IDEA policy that needs to be signed, needs to be understood as our non-negotiable. So this is embedded in everything. It is also embedded, for those that may not realize, in our adjudicators. They are part of an allyship training. They go through extensive training with the Alliance Theater. We take a really hard look at our program every year. I use the feedback of what I'm getting to determine where we still need work. And those are the big key issues that we go into the Alliance training, trying to just talk about the hard things. We're trying to put it on the table so that we can get better every single time. So those are the things that we find most important. And this generally is for the people that are brand new to the Georgia High School Musical Theater Awards. Obviously, we are a regional award program, but we are part of the bigger national program, which is run by the Broadway League, and it is the Jimmys. At the end of the day, there's a lot of people, and I'll answer this question up front. I've gotten it already. What happens if a show that I want to do is not on the qualifying show and roles list? I'll answer that in a couple ways. First, the new list always gets submitted a little later in the year. So it's like October, November, we finally get a list. Knowing that every year there's new musicals that are allowed for school use, that gets updated. But we will not know until we actually get that list. So what to do in the meantime if you fall in that category, or let's say it's been refused and it's not on the list, does it mean that you can't participate? No, that's not what it means. For them, in order to send leading actor and actresses to them at the end, if they are the winners of the Georgia High School Musical Theater Awards, in order to go on as leading actor and actress representatives in the Jimmys, they must be on that list. But that doesn't mean you can't participate in our program and be a nominee of all the other categories. With one caveat, the overall production nomination will be dependent on what musical you're doing and whether you would have broadcast and live permission rights to participate in our show. Since that is a requirement of the show, that would be the only determinant whether overall production could possibly be impacted. But that would be a discussion between you and your musical licensing company. So I'll just put that out there. But in general, yes would be the answer. You still can participate in our program. There's just limitations on the leading performer. Should it not be eventually the new list, if it's not on there, then you could still participate. You just would have some limitations in those categories. If it does become on that new list, then you're good to go in all senses of the word. If you perform in October and the list hasn't been released yet, then we will judge everything as if you are eligible completely and make those determinations as we progress, as we get more information from the Broadway League. Okay. Again, our program started in 2009, and it's really to celebrate, as I've already said, but it's also, yes, we have this show at the end, and it's a nice thing to have at the end, but our focus is the program. The program helps all participants. The show is a highlight and it brings attention to all the great work that's happening, but it's really about the program and everybody going through it that we want to help move the needle. We did get a 6th Emmy for whatever that is worth for anybody, but you know, it's fun accolades. But what really makes me proud is when a teacher says to me, the feedback you gave me was amazing, that it's the first time I've been able to read it out loud in front of the students verbatim. That's what I'm most proud of. So, but yes, but we have fun in a show at the end. That's for sure. I don't want to belittle it, but I don't want it. I want you to hold it in perspective. Our awards categories. We have 15 award categories. Understanding that we give 16 category awards because supporting performer is 2 awards, non-gendered, but it's 2 of them. So we have 15 categories, but 16 awards plus 3 specialty awards. That's what also makes us different. If you talk to other people in other regions that have programs, every regional award program is handled very differently. And we are one of the few that very much emulate the Tony Awards with trying to capture creative, production, and performance categories. We feel that is the way to help you move the needle across the board because it has touchstones on so many aspects and facets of the performing arts. And this is where you kind of capture everybody's interest within your school community. So just a little about Showstopper Award. It's been around, Showstopper and Spotlight, but for those that are unfamiliar with it, the Showstopper Award is like the 11 o'clock award, which is some fabulous moment in your show that literally stops the show and brings down the house. So it's that outstanding high energy, usually heavily populated with a lot of ensemble. It's a great peak in your show. And that's something that we celebrate for a school that really has one of those fantastic moments. The Spotlight Award is really for that special ensemble moment that has meaning, that is very unique in the show that we want to call out. Sometimes that Spotlight Award is a tech moment. Other times it's a performance. So it all depends. It depends on what we're seeing in the shows and what we really think is floating to the top. The Standing Ovation Award is a fairly newer award, and it is to really applaud and highlight all the amazing things you guys are doing in your programs that make your spaces so welcoming to all people in your community. Sometimes what that looks like is you're making sure that everyone is included. Sometimes it's reintroducing a theme or a story in a different way. And other times it means introducing brand new stories so that everyone's story can be told and not just those that are typically seen. So those are kind of 3 specialty awards that we provide. And they're all ways that we call out the amazing work that is being done. The difference between Showstopper Spotlight versus Standing Ovation, Showstopper and Spotlight are one recipient, whereas the Standing Ovation Award, there are multiple recipients. It's outstanding things that are really standing out in a way that not even professional theater is doing. I have such admiration for the lengths that all of you go to really meet all of your community and embrace them in all the ways they need to flourish and prosper. And my goal with that, with introducing that award 2 years ago, was really so that it could eventually retire itself, meaning that kind of behavior it becomes the norm, and everyone is going way out of their way to make sure their spaces are truly inspiring for all people. So that's my dream, and I hope it happens very soon. But I do want to say we want to shout out all the people that are doing amazing work. So the next part. Our adjudication team, if you aren't familiar, it's different than, say, one act. It's not that you have one-on-ones with our adjudicators. Our adjudicators are meant to give you a perspective of what the audience sees and how it reads. And so therefore, there is no one-on-one feedback. It is more third person removed. And that is so that we can give you a kind of a view that is a little removed, and we're just saying, this is how we read it. This is how we're receiving your vision. The adjudication panel is made up of an advisory committee member and 3 adjudicators. We also have an understudy that we use as a substitute to try and make sure you always get 3 scores. We can use the advisory committee member in a dual role fashion. They can serve as both a facilitator, excuse me, a facilitator and a guide for the adjudication panel, but they also can score. The main goal is that the advisory committee member is there to facilitate, to give reminders of the mindfulness practices that we implemented this past season, setting everybody up for being the best adjudicator they can to walk into your space, making sure that everything's in check, at the very least, their awareness is there. So that is what they're for. They're also there to make sure that the conversation happens after scoring occurs. They also are guiding feedback so that it maintains a focus of the criteria. So always bringing it back to the criteria. So our adjudicators have a scoring tool that lists each category with all the criteria, and the criteria is scored individually so that the score of the category is a composite that's equally weighted. So that, and you will see that scoring tool in the director's packet. As a participating school, you'll get access to that, and you'll get to see the exact form that we use. And we're making some tweaks in terms of the order in which they prefer it and things like that, but the gist of it will remain the same. They also have a comment form that has also changed and evolved. The comment form is a universal form that is live. It's a live document for each school. So each school has a unique document that only your adjudication team can access. So when they access it, they see it live, and this is important. And I'll go over it more when the participating directors forum later after the registration process is over. But we want the adjudicators to brain dump. So they see Act 1, they come into intermission, there's no talking, they just brain dump into this form. The form has segments on it, and they're supposed to fill it out so that we approach your successes and with examples and specificity, as well as the in areas for growth and opportunity and examples of that. And so the idea is that they fill out all the quadrants so that we have an assigned writer that becomes the collective writer of the voice of the panel, and they give you a fully fleshed out evaluative comment approach, like an essay. So that is what we do, and we are getting better at it. I can't say we're perfect, but we get better at it every year. I have some fantastic comments that have been produced this season, and I'm quite proud of the advancement that we've made in that department. I see a question.
It's,
Yeah.
how can a person apply to be a judge, and is there anything that may disqualify them from eligibility or for judging?
Sure. So that's a good question. Last year, we had all kinds of last minute adjudicators kind of come up, not last minute, but after the initial training was done. So what happens is that we have an application, and it typically is open until August 1st. You can find that application on our Instagram profile. Also on our webpage is an explanation of what is needed for an adjudicator, but typically we are looking for, the requirements is that they have a degree and experience and or experience equivalent. Sometimes they only have the experience, but it's many types of like many years of experience on stage and working and doing different things. After so many years, it counts and weighs just as well as an educational degree. So qualifications, they have to be in the field, they have to be a working artist of some sort. We also have them make sure that they don't have conflicts of interest that are unavoidable. And how I define conflict of interest is perceived either in you either have a difficult time doing an adjudication because of the relationship that you have with a certain person, or others could perceive that you have that relationship. So if it could cause into question any kind of putting into question the validity of your scores or comments because of that conflict of interest, then we request that you don't either adjudicate at all, depending on how deep rooted that is. If you are part of a participating school, you may not in any way adjudicate, like if you are contracted by that school. But if you are, let's say, a vocal coach, and you happen to have people in Forsyth County, then you as an adjudicator, there's possibilities that you would know someone. So what we recommend is you do it anywhere but the county that you have those contacts with. We also recommend in that case, this is just a case example, that whatever musicals you may be working on with your private students, you do not see those musicals for adjudication, so that there is no direct point of correlation or comparison that could happen. So if you're helping somebody with Mean Girls, don't see Mean Girls throughout the year, regardless of the fact you're not in Forsyth County. Okay, so that's an example. Is there another question, or it's just a comment?
Yeah, we received our comments in July to share with the students. Is that normal?
So yes, it's been normal for the past couple years, and it's the reason why there's a couple reasons it's normal. It's normal because we've changed processes. When I first came on board, I was not pleased with the kind of comments I was seeing. I came on halfway through a process, so I couldn't change it until the next year. We have done some major overhaul of our adjudication process, and with that comes some growing pains. So some people are taking longer to jump onto the train of change. The other unfortunate circumstance is we have been understaffed almost the entire time I've been hired. I can count maybe a total of 6 months that I've had a full staff. So a lot of it falls on me, and I am a self-admitted perfectionist, so I just refuse to compromise on the feedback. I will not give you anything that could possibly not hit one of those pillars that I mentioned to you before. If they are not going to be encouraging, motivating, inspiring, or advocating for you, I don't want it to reach your students' eyes or ears. And so that's what's That's my non-negotiable. Sometimes it means that it's later than you want it, and I'm working on it, I swear. Every year we are getting better. I promise we'll get there. I just for these last 2 years, it hasn't been possible because of both circumstances, but also getting adjudicators used to a new format, okay? And I apologize for that, but again, I'd rather you be mad at me because they're later than you want than hand you something that you'd be even madder at me about, so. Um, this is key, are there anything else that you, okay, key dates. As you know, August 6th, is registration and it opens at 7. I will be very honest that I did a proposal for approval by the CEO and board and got it rejected that we could increase our number of schools. We ended up having the increase last year kind of forced on us, and I was using that as a way to prove that we could do it. The board has not agreed, and so we are currently still going to obey the 50 school rule. And I apologize for that. I really fought to get it different. From the feedback that that many of you participated in last season, we were trying to do an idea of let's increase to 250 and let's try and secure more schools. So I used that premise as my proposal along with all kinds of data. But it's it's back to 50. So, but I refuse to have the price raised, so it stays at 200. So we will not be raising the price, but unfortunately, we will also not be raising the participating schools. Hopefully after this year, maybe we need one more year to prove the financial soundness of everything after COVID, which we still are kind of suffering from donors. As you know, many nonprofits are really having a hard time, and we are included in that group. So August 6th is registration date. Oh, yeah, that's because it just happened yesterday that it got refused. I was trying to get in. I was really hoping, but yesterday is when I got the decision told to me. So there may be a few documents out there that still say the 250 because I was optimistic. So it's actually 200, everybody. It's not 250. So it's 200. So September 11th actually there's a few more. Let me go back. There's a few things not there. So we'll add them, and then when we do the PDFs, make sure it's part of it. So registration day is Tuesday, August 6th at 7:00 p.m. It's a reduced form, even more so than last year, which means it'll go quick. And I'm going to get into the rules and regulations of that. But in the meantime, it's literally when I say at 7, it's at 7. And it doesn't take too long for things to fill up. There will be something called a REGEX code that you receive if you are one of the confirmed 50 schools. You will receive that on August 20th and have the opportunity to log into Accepted, enter your REGEX code anytime between the 20th of August and the 28th before 5 p.m. So when you do that, it's linking your registration to give you access to the actual director's application. We're doing that on purpose. Last year, we did have some issues. Accepted insisted it was not our fault that the servers failed. But just in case, we've separated the registration to its own application. So now we have to link that to our full director's application. The confirmed schools adjudication date selection will occur August 28th at 5 p.m. That is why the REGEX code is needed to be entered. Once you get it, up until the 28th, you have a chance to enter it and get section A connected to you. Otherwise, you'll struggle on that same day and it'll be hard to enter and it'll take some extra time. That is the day that you enter the information in what we will call section A. If you were part of the process last year, there was in part 1 and part 2, we've eliminated that. Old part 1 is now just the registration. Old part 2 is now just section A. Okay, so for those that participated last year, that's a reference. So you will go into section A and complete it with the remainder of the questions and the acknowledgements. It's mostly about what musical you're doing. It's about the licensing company, your social media stuff, and some acknowledgements. And then when you hit submit, you will get a confirmation message, and that will have the link to the calendar. The calendar has pre-selected spots, and you will enter your name. But I'll get more into that in 1 second. I'll show you. Okay, we'll go into the application and I'll show you. But just so you know, that's what's happening on August 28th at 5 p.m. The participating directors town hall is Wednesday, September 11th at 6 p.m. The participating registration payment is due, that's the $200, is due by Friday, September 13th. I've extended the deadline because some of you had issues because of the Labor Day weekend that you were panicked. So I pushed the date back so that it was a little more convenient for you. If you are paying credit card, that is what we prefer, but if you want to trust the Georgia mail these days, then I've pushed the date back a little bit so it would get to us by the 13th. Our season dates run from Friday, October 11th through Saturday, March 8th. And like I said, we'll make a few corrections by adding the REGEX code and then giving you these PDFs, and I'll put it on the website. I'll probably put it also on the profile link tree of Instagram. Okay, let's go into, do I have any questions up until this point that I'd like to address?
There's nothing listed in the chat yet.
Okay, okay. Did I properly answer the how do you adjudicate and what qualified? I think I did. If you had any other questions about that, please see me. You can offline to me. Okay, let's go into our registration. We have the first 50 submissions we can go into. Okay, let's stop here. This is how to prepare for registration. So if you were part of it last year, you're pretty well set because you have an account, you've logged in, you have a password, you've connected, you see where our application is, and that's what you need. That'll A through F gets you to there. Clicking on the actual application won't happen until August 6th, but up until there, you're prepped. So all you have to do is click on the application, fill out the questions, and hit submit. Okay, remember this is it's more a timeliness thing. So this helps prep you so that all you have to do is answer your questions. Okay, so are we going into accepted yet?
Okay.
I say we go into accepted because this will be great as a PDF, but accepted you'll actually see. So let's go into accepted.
You want to start with the landing page so we can see what it looks like and then go into an application?
Yeah. Okay, so when you do A through F, this is where you land. Okay, this is where what you'll see on August 6th. So obviously on the right-hand side is all kinds of information. So you have plenty of time to read that prior to and familiarize yourself with anything that you may have in question. But to actually fill out the application, you're gonna start the application by selecting our program, which is what? It'll say registration application. It's currently not open, but it will be on August 6th. Yeah, so you click that. When you click it on August 6th, this is what you should, there'll be a little button that says start application. You click the button and it'll start. So the next part.
Let me just find that proper tab, so I'm showing the right thing, sorry.
Yeah, give him a minute to toggle to the right tab, since it's not an online application yet, it's not live. Okay.
This is the.
At present, there is the social media fees in that area, correct? I'm not sure I understand what fees. Oh, feeds. In section A, yes, social media is in in section A that occurs right before you hit submit. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're talking about registration. No, we eliminated that. We eliminated it to make it even simpler. So I took those questions off and I put them on actual section A. So in the registration, you don't find the social media stuff.
I beg your pardon, Beth. I was saying at present on the screen and accepted where you were saying the green link for the application going live. At present, you have the ArtsBridge social media feeds filling that space.
Oh, yes.
Those are going to be adjusted or go away, I take it?
It should drop down.
It'll just drop down in the button
Brilliant.
here, right under where it should. And then the feed just drops. I mean, that social media feed drops down. Okay,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you were what you said. Okay, so here's a test applicant. In the PDF, we name all the questions, but this is a way that you can review what information you will be required to fill in. So your first name and your last name, everybody knows that. That's of the director. Now, let me just pause. There's a lot of you guys that put someone other than the director. I am going to approach the season talking to the director. So please have the director in every case sign in. You are the owner of the account. If you want to give someone your login for other reasons, that's your business. I'm going to talk to the director. So all my emails, all my communication is as if you are part of the main part of the program. So if you have two directors, pick one, or kind of try and fit both people in at least in the naming, or give me an email, a message on accepted, kind of reminding me you have more than one and you want both of you addressed. So I sometimes can do that, like in Rebecca Stern and Claire's case, Papa's case. I try and remember. Sometimes no. It all depends on how fast I'm trying to get you the information. So you need your cell phone number. This is your cell phone number. Directors, trust me when I say I will not call you. But if I want it, if you're in a problem like registration last year, and you want me to try and get back to you in a quick way, sometimes cell phone is a great way to do it. Email address, please make sure it's one that you can receive attachments from. Okay. Your school name, your school phone number and extension. Search the address. You can enter your school. Okay, this is another thing. A lot of people read fast and they are misreading. I don't want to know your country. I know what country. It says county, everybody. So a lot of times people put USA. Please do not. County is county. Yes. So you know how often I see USA? Don't put USA there. County is different than country, everybody. So please do that. School type. We have everything imaginable. It's a drop-down menu. Click the one that most is representative of you. Scroll up a little bit when you do that so they can see all the options.
Scrolled up as I can.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
the bottom one says cyber school.
Cyber school is the last one. So all those are school type. And then is there one more question? Is this your first time participating? Yes or no? And that's the register. Oh, no, well, yeah, you have acknowledgements. You hit continue, then you have acknowledgements. It's, is this different than what we did last night? Oh, yes, because that's in section A. Yeah. All right. So these are, it's been a wild ride, everybody. So acknowledgements, just that you're aware that it's a $200 fee, and that, you'll attend town hall, the direct participating director's town hall. So after those two acknowledgement statements, you hit continue. You can review to make sure it's correct. You hit pay and submit. You don't really pay here, do you? No, you don't really pay here. It says pay and submit because that's a default of accepted.
Sure.
It'll come up as 0. Just hit submit. It may take a hot minute. Do not panic. Do not panic. So you hit submit. And after that hot minute, you get a confirmation message. Please look at this confirmation message. So it congratulates you that you're one of the 50 schools. That means your application made it and everything's automatically timestamped with accepted. So it cuts off automatically once 50 hits. What happens if you are in the middle of your application and 50 schools are filled up? When you go to try and submit, one of two things will happen. It won't let you submit, or it will tell you that there's an error. In which case, when you go refresh and go back to the home page, it'll say that the application's closed. Okay, and that would be the reason. So that is registration. I do want to bring a couple things to your attention. Last year, the server was the issue. We were not the issue, according to accepted. However, they've taken extra measures, and so have we. So we've separated that application. We've reduced it in simplicity as much as we can. It is accessible information for all people, regardless of whether it's your first time or your 17th time. But last year, we were concerned with schools having multiple people trying to submit the application for one school. What that is going to cause this year is we get a log. If we see multiple entries trying to log on for your school, it will automatically remove you as a valid participant. So do not do that. Only one person, I'm going to repeat this a couple times, one person should be entering the application information. If that doesn't happen, the automatic process will eliminate you as a potential participant. So I'll say it one more time. Do not have 5 people logged in trying to do the application. That will not work this year. It didn't work last year, technically, but it definitely won't work this year because we have planned for it. So please, one person signing in, doing the information, hitting submit. Now, how do you set yourself up for success? If you know the questions that you're going to need answered, you will have them written on a Word document and copy paste so you don't have to type in individually. That's the way that you speed up the process, not by trying to give yourself an unfair advantage and having multiple people trying to sign in on your behalf. It will not work in your favor this year, for sure. So, word to the wise, everybody. Was there another question?
There's a couple. It might just be easier if you want to scroll through them real quick.
Okay, let's see the questions. Okay. Okay, so James, why is it first come, first serve? Why not let more than 50 people fill out the form and select 50 at random? That was an actual recommendation. I think my honest answer is I was really trying to convince everybody to just try to convince the organization to do more. And my focus went on trying to convince just to let more in. And I didn't really pursue the avenues. That was one of the things that we talked about actually last year. We had all kinds of different ideas of how we were going to go about doing it. I can say that I will take it into total consideration for improvements to come. I can't say that I'm going to do it for this year because it would be too quick to inform everybody. But I'm not going to ever say no to anything. So let me give it some thought. But as of right now, it's going to be the way I'm explaining it today. Okay. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. To partially, do you expect that there will ever be any changes regarding schools who perform one-act versions of their musical for contest play and then turn around and perform the full length for Schulers? I realize that this is short. Big question, not being salty. That's okay. Just curious if this has ever been something that has been taken into consideration. So I guess it's perspective. I don't necessarily view it as unfair. I guess I would have to I'd be interested in having a nice discussion about it maybe, moving forward. But I'll give you my perspective. I'm not saying it's the right answer. I'm just saying how I see it. I lived in the Dominican Republic for 30 years, so I was not entrenched in this kind of culture of all the competitions, one act and thespies and all that stuff. So I'll just start out by saying that. But I will say, what's different is you have to go somewhere else and do your one act, and you don't have the full encompassing program to be evaluated. So because our focus is on program, it's on helping you move the needle at your school. It's meeting you where you are and helping you to see and being a source for you, and also an extra voice for you in your corner. That's what our focus is. I guess if we were only focused on the competition aspect, maybe that would fall more in my field of vision. But because I'm so focused on really just helping you in your school, do you know how many schools in our advocating section are talking about how, you need to take this to the school board. You're in a shared space with a bad sound system. It's 25 years old. We would highly recommend that you get something that could really show the talent that's coming through in your program. Like, that's our focus. So yeah, I mean, yes, they've kind of dry runned it, but it's a very different animal when you take it into your environment and you're putting all the bells and whistles and it's from your place, and that's what's really being evaluated. So I mean, we could certainly have a conversation. I'm not against it, in terms of just making me more aware of other ideas and perspectives. But from the organization's point of view, from my stance, it's about so much more than what it looks like having a one act that's then evaluated completely. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But I'd be happy to have more of a conversation with you, Corey, for sure.
But at the same point, isn't the evaluation based on what we do have in our schools available to us?
Yes,
Isn't that
100%. 100%. So what I mean by advocating is like in the section in the application, when you guys are asked what are the challenges that you have? Why did you choose the musical? What are the 3 ways that you encounter, or you're creating a welcoming environment? That is giving us food for thought. And so when the adjudicator walks into that space, they understand more about your why. And therefore, yes, they're still holding you accountable for criteria and meeting it according to our rubric, which is the level at which you're hitting that criteria. But when they're putting feedback together, their thought is, how can I give you actionable, constructive feedback that is worth you reading? When I first was taking over the program, a lot of the comments were either not saying anything, like that was great, or they were saying things like, something about fixing the lights. Well, in your application, you have the opportunity to talk about how you've been trying to get the county to fix the lights and they won't come in. So mentioning to you that you didn't have enough lights is pointless. What they have to mention is how, knowing that, what's a good feedback comment that could help you? What's an idea? What is a suggestion? What is an alternative that we can provide that maybe could go, oh, that's a thought. Okay, so that's what it's really for. It doesn't impact the scoring, but it does impact the feedback.
I just want to say I appreciate that. As the lead theater teacher in Gwinnett County, that has definitely helped. And we've gotten several schools retrofitted with lighting because of the Schuler comments. We're still not 100%, but thank you. Thank you so much, because that has helped us.
Brandy, thank you. See, these are the wins that I count as wins. Every day, I'll take that any day of the week. Thank you. I'm so glad. And I hope that we do a better and better job at it every year. In a similar vein, do I set up an accepted account if I'm a new teacher, or should I use the account? No, you are a new teacher. You set up your own account. Okay. Which also introduces a problem. If there's a change, then we have to switch over an application to a brand new user, but that's how that works. So yes, you are a brand new teacher. You sign into your account. Also, another thing, if you are a teacher that has switched schools and you participated as one school and now are in another, and you sign on the same way, there are some things that carry over that you have to be careful of. And even us on our end. So give me a heads up if that is happening so that I can make sure on the accepted side, we don't allow certain information to carry over, okay? Okay, let's go on.
Section A.
Section A. So this is after you've been confirmed as one of the 50 schools. Let's all talk it into existence. So if you've been confirmed, you will get on August 20th, you will get in your accepted messages, you may not be notified about it. So check a REGEX code. Obviously, this is not the REGEX code, so it's not going to actually work, but yours will. Each person gets a unique and individual code. So you can't share them, it is yours. So you enter your code sometime before the 28th of August at 5 o'clock. So anytime between the 20th and the 28th, you put in your REGEX code. Once you put it in, you hit continue, and you will get a confirmation message that tells you that you did it and you're linked. That means when you go back in, you'll be able to see the director's application as one of the drop-down menu options. That is where Section A lives. Okay, so Section A lives in the 2024-25 Director GHSMTA Director's application. You click on that on the 28th of August at 5 o'clock, and you're going to fill out Section A. And here is Section A. The name of your musical. If you don't know yet, you put to be determined or N/A. Let's say you want to do a musical, but you haven't gotten answered from your musical licensing company. You can put down what you think it is if you want. But there is an acknowledgement of your licensing company, and if you did talk to them. If it's a matter of days, or if there's a switch, let's say you start as one and then you change because of something that happens in the school. Let me know if that's the case, and I will go into your application and change it for you. So it's not a problem. If you don't know, put TBD or N/A. We need your opening night and closing night as you think it is as of now. Does that mean it can't change because you don't get the date you want and you have to adjust? Yes, that's what that means. But give us the date you intend to do it. Or what is your run date? That's what we need, your opening and closing night. Your adjudication season runs between then. You're acknowledging that anything outside of that or a guaranteed date or outside of that will not be guaranteed. Okay. You're going to list your licensing company, and there's a few more acknowledgements. Let's say you are doing a new musical that has not been released yet. It just got released for schools, and it's not yet released on our new list because it doesn't come out yet. You would hit no. Okay, it's not there. But what can happen is when we find out that it's released, you tell me, I go into your application and I change things. So everything's fine. It must be answered either way, a yes or a no. If you answer no, that's so I know to check in with you. That's also so I know if it stays a no, that leading actor and actress cannot be considered for nomination. Okay. Overall production, if you hit yes, it will automatically say yes. If you hit no, it will temporarily say no, but that is not written in stone. So don't panic. Do not panic. There is also, it gives you more information so that you understand that it's based on whatever the current list of qualifying shows and roles are. I will be pressing the, yeah? Oh, I will be pressing the Jimmies for that list, and I am not the only regional award program that has already mentioned it to them that we need to know, because there's some coming up earlier in the year than expected that just got available to schools. So we'll try and get that to you as soon as we can. But we'll work with it. It's a flexible thing. It's the nice thing about me having access to the application. And if there's an adjustment, I can make sure I pull you back or I override the system. So we're okay. The idea initiative and the director's agreement. So this is where you read the statements and you click, yes, you read it. And you have to type in your full name. That becomes your understanding that you've read it. And Matthew is a speed reader. So these are Adobe Sign documents. Let's hear it for Adobe Sign. Yeah, because the year that it wasn't, everyone hated me. So it is Adobe Sign. Again, this year, it's easy. You click, you sign where it says on the line, it will automatically date it. And that's that. So you do that, and then you click the arrow down and say, I have signed it. Otherwise, this page will not submit. Everything must be completed, okay? Then you hit continue. Now a few more acknowledgements. How are you going to pay? Check or credit card? We love credit card. So when you can, it eases the burden on us. If you agree to credit card, there will be a pay link that you can pay. Hit select. Where does the pay link go?
In your confirmation message at the end.
Oh, that's right. My fault. I got myself confused. Yes. So the payment fee, it's acknowledging that you're going to pay and how you're going to pay. You've had time to talk about it with your schools and figured that all out. Participating again, making sure you know you have to. Now that you're a confirmed school, double or nothing, you have to say it again. This is section B now. Oh my gosh. Everybody, it is so important. And I know it's like summer you versus like end of the school year you. That's what happens to everybody. I need those 2 weeks before. Why? Because the adjudicators need time with your material. When you don't submit section B in time, your adjudicators don't get section B, and that's a problem. Okay. And it's detrimental to you and your program that they don't have enough time with it. So I'm going to just say that, even though in this forum, we're talking about registration, but I'm going to put my 2 cents in even here. So you're saying, yes, I will complete my section B like a good little student and get it in 2 weeks ahead. And you're saying, yes, you will. The next one is you're required to fill out section C of your director's application, and it's required 2 weeks after closing. So section C is post-production, and I need that. If you are a March school, you only have 1 week to get that in. The section due dates will be in the director's packet. Okay. And this is the last, oh yeah, so if you're in March, it's less time that you have versus if you're ahead of March and you have 2 weeks.
Have to put more
Can we get the receipts emailed to us this year? Because our bookkeepers are very particular.
I know, and our box office is, I'm gonna do my darndest to get those to you. It's not always an easy pull, but they'll do it. Sometimes it just takes a little persistence. So if you email me and I will forward it to our box office, then I'll put you guys in direct communication and I'll give you guys the opportunity to email him and call him on the daily if you need.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want you to have what you need, but sometimes it's like pulling teeth. Okay, so once you've done all that, you hit pay and submit and you get your confirmation message. And it takes a hot second. You hit submit, even though it says a 0 total, because that's not where you actually pay. And then it's taken a minute. In a minute, Amanita. No, I won't sing the song. Okay, here you go. So here's your confirmation. If you read, it talks about when payment is due. It talks about missed payments or late payments makes you ineligible for participation, and we will take from the wait list. Oh, I didn't cover wait list. Remind me, I'll go back. Okay. Reminders of credit card and check, and the link will be right there. It's just currently not there right now because we're building a new link. And then the thing you need the most on this page is the calendar for adjudication date selection. When you select it, the dates are pre-selected in terms of spots. We can accept up to two schools per day, per time slot. And when I mean time slot, I don't mean a specific time. I mean a general time, so matinee time or evening time. So we can accept up to 2 schools per day, per time slot. In the case of you needing absolutely no wiggle room, there is no alternative date because of because of things in the school, then what happens is my suggestion, put yourself in an alternative date that is the most feasible and email me no, I'm sorry, you're not emailing. You are now doing a form. You click that form and you're going to fill it out for the alternative date that you would like to be considered for. So this is how that works. If the dates that are provided don't work for you, but you want an additional date, those cannot be introduced to the adjudicators for selection until the guaranteed dates are already filled up. Once they're filled up, I release your dates and we try and fill up yours. I do a pretty good job at guilting the adjudicators to take on more schools. So last year, we had so many new extra schools that we weren't anticipating, and we filled absolutely every school's demand. So I'm not saying it's impossible, quite the opposite. I'm saying it's most probable, but I can't guarantee it. And you will not find this out until by October 15th. Hopefully before, but let's say by October 15th. But the normal selection looks like this. Let's click on the calendar. Oh,
We don't have the calendar.
we
open,
don't
so
have the
that's-
calendar open yet.
I can show you the exact same look for our end of. We're in the middle of building everything out. Looks very similar to this.
Okay,
and then just have two.
will the section due dates be on the key date slide? No, the section due dates will be on the participating guide as a participating confirmed school. Oops. Okay, so we don't have the whole calendar built out yet, but what you'll see is all the dates listed in a big row, and it's in order of chronological order, so of date. So you look for your date, you click whether it's an evening or matinee, and we have approximate times listed. That does not mean that is the time you must do it. It is a holding time. You will clarify the actual time for us when you get to section B. In section B, you will actually tell us the exact time you will be doing it. Okay. Now, my recommendation is not to be too late. It is harder for your adjudicators. You want them to have plenty of time and not feel rushed. So the nicer the time you can give, but with respect to traffic, and also distance, the better. For schools that are farther away from Metro Atlanta, I'm requesting that you either pick a matinee time, a Saturday evening that's not too late, like adjust the time accordingly, or a Sunday matinee that is, you can push it on the later side, but not get into evening. So there's ways to go about it, but let's be mindful of our adjudicators and their travel time. You'll have a fresher adjudication panel that way. What else can I answer? For last year's ceremony tickets, oh, yeah, will that be the external platform? Yes. It's a Ticketmaster link. So if you need to understand what Ticketmaster account to use, please do that. It is a Ticketmaster account that you will need for payment. Ticketmaster account is a booster parent name versus, that's fine. Whoever's paying can be the one that enters Ticketmaster. But we are gonna request with box office, similar to what we did, we had you put the school name associated so that there's no confusion. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Okay. Let's keep going.
Wait, let's,
Let's talk about wait list. Let's talk about wait list. Okay. No. Let's do. No, I forgot what song I was actually thinking. Sorry. Okay, so I'm a little punchy right now. So wait list. If you are one of the schools that while you are entering the registration material, it pops up as an error or it doesn't let you submit because it's been filled, you will get the opportunity to sign up for the wait list. I cannot guarantee that it can be utilized in terms of how many people on the wait list could really potentially be used. Because we had so many on board last year and we accepted everybody, it was a moot point last year. But this year, moving forward, because it is a firm 50, depending on if there's someone that drops out, I would notify the first school based on timestamp, and I would let you know your order on the wait list. So that way you can realistically think, okay, it is or it won't happen. But there is no guarantee, even if you're number one on the wait list. It all depends on how everything works out. So if you can't find the wait list link, if you go back to the home page, you can find it always there. And you can sign in, you can hit it, fill out all the information. It's only a couple questions and it's 4 questions and you're done. Okay, so that's for wait list. Yes.
we've gone through scheduling.
So just so you see how we do it, we do one time slot on a Thursday, which is an evening time slot, which allows 2 schools. We do one evening time slot on a Friday, which allows 2 schools. We do a matinee and an evening, each one having 2 school allotments, and we do one matinee time slot on a Sunday. Can you push the matinee time a little bit? Yes, but again, let's not get abusive. We're trying to get the adjudicators home to their families as well. So that's scheduling. That's on March 8th. No, I'm sorry. That's on April 28th.
August
I saw a
28th.
March 8th, or March 8th is the end of the season. All right, student opportunities. That happens well, first of all, scholarships. They're open. They will open also on the 28th. On August 28th, student scholarships will open. Last year, I did a bigger push and so many more students applied, and it was so much nicer to have more students available. Hopefully, the funding is even better and we can get even more students with scholarships. But we had so many more applicants, and it was fantastic. So the scholarship due date is,
January 13th, 2025.
thank you, Friday, right? Friday, January 13th, 2025. So, oh yeah, it's right there. So please, I'm not looking. Please, tell your students. We have some great scholarship opportunities, both money and in kind for summer.
It's a Monday.
Okay, the 13th is a Monday? Okay. So that it's a great opportunity. As far as the ensemble and the Star Council, those are excellent programs that we've worked also very hard on. Again, our focus is what the kids get out of the experience. It is not on the competition aspect. So the Star Council, we have revamped that program. It has really taken off. Thank you. Yes, I'm so glad you said that they loved it because we loved having them. Not only do we love having them, there's all kinds of opportunities that we can give to them as they kind of take initiative and show that they're really into it. We find other things to engage them in during the summer, during side projects. It's amazing. It's a wonderful program. We've done a much better job with it over the last couple of years. So it's great for your tech kids. This is a fabulous opportunity. I'm also going to do a little plug for a workshop that we are preparing. That workshop is tech oriented only. It's a 2-part series. It's an all-day workshop. It would be great to bring a tech crew that has less experience, that you want to really engage them. Section 1 of part 1 is August 27th. It's a Tuesday.
Yep.
It's a Tuesday. So the day before, you have to pick your date. You can come to our theater and we will have 5 areas that we cover in tech. We're having lighting, sound, fly and what?
Rigging.
Yeah, fly and rigging is one. Stage management and
That's a good
carpentry.
one.
So those 5 areas will be discussed, and we have industry professionals. They will have hands-on opportunity. It's on our website actually, and I can also send it out to people that are interested. Why did we do this? Because you know how many feedback forms I hear, how fantastic the performances are, and if only something in tech was a little different, or there's opportunity for growth in tech. So I want this program to be a resource for you. So that focus, there'll be a sound aspect, but not only that. So let me just quickly explain. Part 1, hands-on with your coaches, industry professionals who will coach the kids to get some practical information that they immediately apply, but they leave with a goal. That goal then brings them back into section 2, which is in January, another all-day workshop. They combine with the performers of their choice. They get goals that they have to hit from each of the areas. They come into our space. They kind of do an eval where we're looking at what they've done. If they've hit their goal, then we troubleshoot. How is it? What are you experiencing in your theater? How can we help? What are the things we could troubleshoot with you? What are some feedback points of how you executed the goals you were given? So that is our 2-day workshop, one in the fall and one, if you can count January as spring.
I also think it's January 27th.
It's January 27th also. So we have August 27th and January 27th. So that's just a great thing. That's also great for your Star Council kids, and your tech kids that are really into it. This is a fun opportunity. So a little plug, but the plug is because it was created with you guys in mind, because of all the feedback that I've been seeing. And I'm like, we have to help. We have to get people together. And so why not come to our theater and work with the people that we have, that we can bring to our theater and work with your kids. So we had a really cool time. The one time we did a pilot, but we're going deeper. So that was very exploratory, where this is going to be very hands-on. Phew. So let's
Let's
stop
stop.
the share. Yeah, and let's ask any other
There
questions.
are two that came up during student opportunities. to open
Sure.
with.
Sure. Can that workshop focus on mic changes for the tech crew? Yes, it can do all those things. They actually, one of the things I'd like to do is reach out to the people that sign up and say, how do you want us to focus it? Because we'd like it tailored to what you need. So rather than teaching what you don't, we want to make sure we hit on those things. So yes, that'd be fabulous. How are kids chosen for the positions of Star Council? You do the choosing. You do the choosing. You give us 2 candidates. Each school has up to 2 candidates for both Star Council and Schuler Ensemble that you put in section D. The requirement is that they are not one of the nominees for leading actor, actress, supporting performers, or featured performer. They can be a nominee elsewhere, but they cannot be a nominee of their leading of any of the acting categories to be in Schuler Ensemble. But they can be a nominee for a tech category and participate in Star Council. The reason we've made that decision is because there are often and most always fewer production kids. So if you prevent your kids who are nominated, who are your stars, from also being in our Star Council, they're missing out on the opportunity where there's not a lot of leeway to allow others in for the opportunity. So in the case of performers, we want to give Schuler Ensemble kids people that are not nominated as one of the acting categories. All right. Just so you're aware of why we do that, spreading the love as much as we can, but also being logical with what you have to work with. Okay. Yay. Thank you, Brandy. And let's do any other questions. And if you have one that you don't want to shout out, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So, I just wanted to clarify, and I'm sorry if it's over explaining, but, I am a new teacher to a theater program that participated last year.
Okay.
So I need to make my own accepted account, but then I still answer that, no, I am not a new participant this year.
That would be correct. So this,
Okay.
because when you're asking about participant, you're asking about the school. But when you're signing up for accepted, it's you as the director. So
Okay.
you sign up new to accepted, but your school has participated in the past.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? Other things I didn't cover or burning topics? I'll catch Corey later on our discussion that we have pending.
So just real quick, quote, if I'm understanding correctly, you have to do a full length show.
Yes, yes. I didn't see that. Where did
It
you
came
even
as a
see that?
direct message because people
Oh.
like me more.
As you see, Matthew and I play a lot with around with each other. Yes, that is, you have to do either a full length musical or an approved high school version. Okay, you may not do a junior version. You may not do just a 1-act. That's where we're different. So it is a full version or an approved high school version. Those are the 2 that we allow. Anything else, everybody? I did give my email. You can also find me easily on the ArtsBridge website. Oftentimes, I even am the one that will see an Instagram message. You know, it's all the many hats, as you guys also know in your programs. Same. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm constantly everywhere. So just hit me up with your question. I'd be happy to provide clarity or any extra answers or curiosities that you have.
Hey, Beth, I have one before you pop off here.
Sure, Jen.
Okay, you were kind enough to suggest us filling out our answers to our application and then copying, pasting. Forgive me. In this chat that you're going to put on the YouTube channel, please tell me that form that Matthew filled out would show us those questions so that we know. that we have access to pre-answer those
Yes,
questions.
and remember in the PDF that I'm also going to make available to you, can you show the PDF slide? We have a PDF slide that actually shows all the questions.
Brilliant. Okay, it wasn't
But-
on the one that's out there, so thank you for that.
But what I can also do, worst case scenario, we can take a screenshot. But these are the questions you need. That's it.
Thank you.
So this PDF will be available. I'll put it up on the website. I just want to fix the one timeline, one that missed a regex code, because it was last night at a 9:30, 10 o'clock that we were doing it, figuring that all out. So yeah, so the regex code was kind of new. So I'll update the timeline and then you'll have that as part of the PDF
Thank you so much.
along with this. Okay. Okay, I'm going to repeat the one thing one more time. Do not have multiple people try and sign on to your school to try and get in. That will not work. It'll work out badly for you. Okay. So the whole idea about IDEA is that everything is an even playing field. So let's just play fair, everybody. Yeah. All right. If you don't have any other questions, I'll still hang around until everybody's out, but I think I'm done. Thank you. And if you have anything, let me know. See you registration day. Let me stop recording. How do I stop recording?